All right, we good. All right, let me do my little intro, I guess.
You gonna
Wait,
do
are we both?
intro?
Are we both using it? Are we both using this clip? What are we
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, yeah.
All right,
Exactly.
you go first then.
No, you can go ahead, bro. You can go
All
ahead, cause I like. Yeah, go
right.
ahead, bro.
So it's for YouTube. All right, so what's up, YouTube? It is Farlifts, and joined here with Cory. I'm gonna do another Let's Chat. Don't know what episode number this is because I've recorded a couple of these and just haven't posted them yet. So this will be one of the episodes. I think we're kind of eating off each other's content right now, so he's gonna do his intro right now. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I'll do the intro right now. So, welcome back to another episode of the Power Not Podcast. I'm your host, Cory Yuji, and today we have a returning guest, Tony Ashford, aka Fry Lifts. You can look him up on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. He's a content creator and also an 89 kilo weightlifter now. He's upgraded,
Hey,
got a little stronger then, and just want to say thank you for coming on.
of course, of course, of course. So the topics we have, well, before we get into the topics, we'll catch up real quick. But the topics we are going to talk about today are the use of fitness trackers and then dialing in training environments and just our opinions on those. So, because I haven't talked to you in a while, Corey, just how have you been in general? What you been up to?
Honestly, it's been pretty good. I'm in a better space. I was kind of like in a phase where you just kind of feeling burnt out, not really getting the fruits of your labor, so to say. And
Hmm.
the lifts become like mundane along with pain. And I think there's definitely a mental and physical thing that has to be cohesive because, like, if you're not feeling good mentally, you're not going to feel good or confident to lift. And I think they were feeding off each other negatively. And I've had to kind of branch out, maybe reset a little bit, kind of rethink, okay, what's going to make me better? How am I going to be healthier as a human being and move forward from there?
Right, right. Yeah, because it seems like I know I listened to your last pod. It might have been your last one or the second to last one, where it was just you on there. And like I really like that one because you're getting really introspective and just being vulnerable. It was really good to hear that. So are you just kind of building back up lifting wise, or what's going on there?
Yeah, so I mean, I did like a meet and I didn't really tell anyone, just kind of
Yeah.
hit some lifts and honestly it wasn't that bad either. Went 5 for 6, only missed one little snatch, and that was just like a timing issue where I pretty much had to do like two lifts back to back from 102 to 105, and I overpulled 105, so not mad at that. And then
Yeah.
made all my clean and jerks up to 140, which I haven't touched in like since February, and that's
Okay.
like over 90% of my max. And I think overall, yeah, not too bad. I think they were at least both lifts were around 90% ish, if not more. So can't complain. Now I'm starting to feel better, got my confidence back up, and honestly, kind of rejuvenated. Like doing meets or just kind of being in an environment of like meets does kind of help you, even if you're not even competing. Like for an
Hmm.
example, a couple weeks ago, I was out in Florida visiting my girlfriend, and they had the Florida States competition, and just watching everyone lift, just I don't know, you just feed off that energy and
Yeah.
seeing what people, the passion of what other people are doing, kind of makes you motivated. Like, damn, okay, this is why I joined the sport. This is why I want to do this.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's a good way to kind of like fire yourself back up is seeing other people compete and everything like that.
Exactly, especially
Um.
really good ones too.
Yeah. I guess for myself, I kind of just been on this path of like, even though I'm already a pretty chill and relaxed person, I think I've just been trying to hit a new level of it. Mostly just getting more sleep and then just finding ways to just actually relax. I think it's just more of like a military habit we have where we're kind of like always on the go, kind of like jam packing our days. So I've been trying to figure out a way to do less, you know what I mean, more often. I'm getting back into playing some Warzone with my friends and stuff like that. Still lifting, still making progress, but as you see, like I probably haven't been posting that much, and it's just because in that time that I could be, recording and making more content, sometimes I'm just like, you know what, let me just like just chill for a little bit. You know what I mean? Let stuff breathe, let myself grow. I just got accepted for my master's at I always forgot to say it. It's Southern New Hampshire University. So I'm gonna do my master's there for supply chain management. So we start in July, and
Oh
then try to
wow.
knock that out in a year. So trying to put this exit plan, or at least play with the exit plan of getting out the military. So we'll see how that lines up. But I kind of been focused on stuff like that as this kind of like growth outside of just lifting and just investing in other things right now.
Wow, I didn't know that you were focusing more on like kind of in line with the same job that you have in the military, right? Because you're
Yeah,
almost thinking
yeah.
about changing careers totally, right?
Yeah, a little bit. But I think if I keep this get my master's, because since I'm already logistics and keep it logistics, it just makes it easier to transfer to that civilian life if I want to do that pretty soon. So I'm not kind of like restarting something totally, you know?
That's smart. And you've
Yeah.
already invested like being a prior E, going to West
Hmm.
Point, becoming an officer. Like you've done it all. Like kind of going
Yeah.
back and going forward again. I think
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point in your life, it's like that turning point. Okay, like let's put the cherry on top.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into our first topic, fitness trackers. So I'll kind of introduce what I see the divide. And I kind of got some of these ideas from when I put it on my story a while ago of I was shopping around for fitness trackers and just kind of seeing which ones people use and like why they use them or why they don't. So I would say the divide is mostly explained as there's people that really like them. They think it really adds on to their overall fitness and wellness. And there's people that really just hate them. Or they think they're just a waste of money, don't like using them, and you know what I mean, just don't understand why people need them. Where do you stand, I guess, in that spectrum?
I honestly think I'm in the middle. Like I've
Hmm.
my first exposure to fitness trackers was actually my undergrad back in this is a while ago. When I first started my
Yeah.
undergrad back in 2013, they made us buy a Polar Loop, and that was like one of the first like fitness trackers, like very similar to Fitbit. And we had to have it for a certain amount of time, and blah blah blah. Kind of do like a intro to exit, like little data study on it, and like overall, it nothing was like crazy like surprising with the results. Like we're all young college kids. I think we all benefited from having a like fitness tracker, and it just kind of exposed maybe how many steps we got in a day. I think that was it was more like one of those things that tracked it. It didn't really track it didn't track sleep.
Right.
But like you could hook it up to a heart rate monitor as well, which we did in class sometimes. So that was my first exposure to it. Then second exposure is obviously being in the field when I was coaching strength and conditioning. I think we had like a one of those like heart rate monitors where it shows up on the TV, the My Zone as it was called, and I think I got one free because I coached and stuff, and that was fun because you could see like actively working, seeing how hard you actually work, and a lot of those times it wasn't just lifting; we're also doing some type of metabolic conditioning as well, and obviously the whole purpose, and that's what Orange Theory kind of got their things is being in the orange zone. So like there's certain type of like sweet spot that you needed to be in at a certain point of your training. And I basically just wore to see how many calories I burned when I was lifting heavy weights. Because there's times where I'll be like 1,000 calories. Man, that's insane. I didn't even know that was possible.
Right.
But that's kind of like middle stage dealing with that. I wore it for a little while, kind of got tired of it. And then last but not least, I think me being on the not coaching side and just falling into being an athletic, an athlete, being competitive in Olympic weightlifting. So
Hmm.
threw it on because I think my coach convinced me, hey, you should wear this to track your sleep, blah, 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 because I'm horrible at sleeping. So it was like more of an accountability check. I was off and on with the Whoop, and to be honest, like I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. Um, it's just one of those things where I don't know if it's something with the firmware and or something with the software that like I just don't feel like it was accurate. There's days I felt great, and
Hmm.
it said that my recovery was shit, and then like or sometimes like I was like feeling super crappy, and it says like I was well recovered. Um, I'm glad Angela's not on here, but I know I don't even
When
know
he
if I was supposed to
trashes
say
it.
I don't even know if I'm on the brand or anything, but no, like he works for Whoop, so he doesn't really
Oh,
have
okay.
like he doesn't talk about his like opinions on it. He just
Yeah.
he just works for Whoop. We
Yeah.
could talk off camera, I guess, if he is for or against it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, basically for me, like I don't work there, so I can say whatever I want.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just think that like maybe there's better options. Like I even had Apple Watch too, and I honestly like the convenience of the Apple Watch because it literally has everything. Count your steps, whatever. Like I don't even know if it counted your sleep at the version I had. I'm
It
not
it
even
does
sure.
sleep. I know at least because I have Apple Watch too. It does sleep, but it doesn't do like the strain or recovery. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think the best setup, honestly, would be like the Whoop app on the Apple Watch. I think would be the best, like perfect. You know what I mean? Because you would still get all the benefits of Whoop, but just like the functionality of an Apple Watch, I think
Yeah,
would be really
me
cool.
personally, I think the Apple Watch. this menu is confusing with the rings and all this other stuff. I never really got super comfortable with it. I know it's easier to
Yeah.
navigate on your actual watch, but like on the phone, it was just kind of weird, me
Hmm.
personally. So yeah, I
Um,
guess I don't know. I'm just trying to talk about like the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
like where I don't even know how to the timeline of like my fitness tracker history over the past 10 years, 10 plus years. But like I said, I think it's good for people that you know. I think it's good for people who just need that initial accountability. But I think for a long sustained time, like I just don't see myself like using it. And that's why I don't even wear one right now.
Hmm. Yeah, I've used many different watches. I've used Fitbits. Well, I guess only three different ones: Fitbits, Apple Watch, and now I'm using the Whoop. I've used the Whoop in the past as well. It was funny because West Point actually gave us. They didn't really give it to us. It was just like a test thing. It was a Garmin. I can't remember if it was before or after COVID or during it. Because I can't remember if that's why they gave it to us was to try to track our vitals more often or something like that. But they pretty much gave them to all cadets, and they were just doing a study, I guess, of our overall just fitness and well being. I never saw the results of it, but I just thought it was interesting. And I did even end up going with the Garmin because they tried to make us buy it at the end of it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to buy it. You know what I mean? Like give it to me for free at this point.
Yeah.
But I'll say right now, I started using the Whoop again to really lock in my recovery and just try to track it more often. And I have had issues where sometimes it doesn't seem accurate. Like I know mine always, it just never says I sleep more than 7 hours. It'll give me good recovery a lot of the time. Like I'll still be in like the 90% or whatever. But I know some people they get like 100% recovery, and I'm like, how are you doing that? Like I feel like you're not taking on any strain. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but I think they're good. Like fitness trackers in general are just good in the sense of just getting deeper insight to how your body is doing over time and its different changes. Because one thing I would say is I think a lot of people that are against them or just don't have a good belief of them just have a different perception of what normal might be for their body. Because I know there's so many people that, intake a lot of caffeine or just generally just don't have great health. And I think they don't really realize what that's doing to their body because they never, like we're not checking our vitals every day. You know what I mean? Unless you have a watch. Like you're not seeing your heart rate, you're not seeing your blood pressure, you're not seeing your respiratory rate, like all these little things. And if you're not even aware of like what the actual like medical normal is, then you probably have no idea that like you're functioning at just a crazy level. You know what I mean? Or way below what you should be at, or
Yeah,
something like that. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? So I think it's just like it's a cool way to kind of like track over time just how my health has been. But in terms of like using the stats, I would say, I mean, it's hit or miss. Like I never kind of like what you said. Like there's days I feel good. Or I'll say like this: say if it's Big Friday, if I'm in the red, I'm still gonna make the decision when I get to the gym if I'm gonna like do a Big Friday or not. Like just me solely being in the red is not gonna stop me from lifting.
Yeah.
It might kind of like waver, like, oh, okay, like I don't really feel that good and I'm in the red, so let me chill. Like if
Yeah.
anything, it'll just talk me down off the hill. But I mean, there's been days where I was in the green, I just didn't feel that great either. So it's hit or miss. But I just think that it does is give me that deeper insight to kind of like what's going on, especially just with my health, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, it's a tool that you could use, and why not use it if you see
yeah,
the value in it? And I think that's the biggest question with the fitness trackers is like, do you see the value? Some people just don't see the value in, like, seeking a personal trainer, or seeking a coach, or seeking
right.
this and that for their health, and they just want to kind of ignore it. And also, like kind of you said, it's a good way to for accountability. Like you said, hey, I want to stay
Mhm.
locked in. Honestly, if someone gave me like a fitness tracker right this minute, yeah, I'll use it, and like it'll take me a while. And once things become a habit, then it's almost just kind of natural, like second nature. Like some people are so used to like closing, oh, I need to close all my rings, or I
Yeah,
need to do this, like that. Just hearing people kind of just say like, hey, I need to get these steps. Like, at least they're just
right.
like conscious of like just getting some movement in and like doing the bare minimum. They say, for them.
I will say, I think the divide of more people that don't like it, which is funny. I feel like the more people that are actually in fitness are the ones that don't like the watches that much. And I want to say it's because even people at our level, we're kind of like at a privileged position in a sense that a lot of us have been fit for a long time. So it's like we kind of just already know what our body is doing. Like we kind of know when our body is off from the normal because our normal is closer to what is, I guess, more like medically correct. You know what I mean? So I think we kind of have that position where it's like, yeah, I don't need to see my vitals every day because I already know that like I know when I feel weird and when like my heart rate might be a little too fast or when I'm breathing different or something like that. So I think that's kind of like a position that we have a little bit of privilege in that it would probably benefit somebody that's not in shape a little bit more of just seeing how far off they might be from norm and then like their progress towards a more normal reading or something like that.
Hmm. I mean, you can only fill up your brain with like so much stuff and knowledge too.
Yeah.
Like if like you're so focused on like your recovery and this and that, like maybe that's taken away from something else that you're trying to do in life. You know, competitively as an athlete,
Hmm.
doing something else like mental. Like, hey, I need to be locked in. And I want to think about more of my mental prep versus what my shit says on my my Whoop or any fitness tracker.
Yeah. 'Cause I know just like the perception of the results takes a lot in as well. Like for me on the Whoop, I pretty much never hit my strength goal. And it's not even because it's not that like I'm not working out hard. Like, there's days I work out hard and run in the same day and I just won't hit it. I think it's just kind of like what I said. Like I've been in good shape for a while, so it takes a little bit more for me to, especially if I did get good recovery that day, to actually like feel strained. You know what I mean? Like it would have to be Big Friday plus I did like a ruck march or something like that, and I would probably hit the
Well,
strength
yeah,
goal.
like that's the toughest thing to study too. Like even in like my undergrad and grad school with exercise science or exercise physiology, just little science on a lot of the weight training and lifting stuff. A lot of the evidence that you can get like physically from your heart rate, from your pulmonary system, and all that stuff goes through like cardio stuff, cardio
Yeah,
based exercises, and
right.
like the strain is going to be like directly correlated to like how hard your heart beats racing, right? That's kind of like going through what your conditioning or any type of aerobic exercise that you do. For it's like strength training, a lot of people will tell you, even the people who like know a lot about fitness trackers who are way smarter than me, will tell you that like it's not a direct correlation. The strain is not a direct correlation of like how hard you're working if you're only lifting weights, and that's just the tough thing with like those type with any fitness tracker.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. Um, and then to kind of like further, I guess that perception piece. So there was a study I looked up, and I guess I'll like in editing, I'll put this on the screen or something. Um, so what they did, and they were really just not they weren't focused on, I guess, like people's health in general. They were just focused on like your perception of the results. So kind of like what we're already talking about. They said that factor as in short, it was AAM, which is activity adequacy mindsets. So what they did was they, got a group of people and they only tracked their step count. They split these people into four groups unknowingly, split them into four groups. One group received an accurate step count. One group received a pretty much a step count that was higher than what they actually got. One was lower than what they actually got. One was their normal step count, and they also received like this kind of like mental training on just how to have a higher AAM. And what they found with that is the group that received a sorry, I'm trying to scroll on the screen.
That's okay. Yeah, it's
So a
fine.
group that received an accurate step count perceived their activity as more adequate and healthier, adopted a healthier diet, and experienced improved mental health and aerobic capacity. But they also reduce functional health. I would have to read more of how they define functional health, but that was interesting that they didn't have pluses across the board.
Yeah,
The group that had a deflated step count perceived their activity as more inadequate, ate more unhealthy, and experienced more negative effects, reduced self-esteem and mental health, and increased blood pressure and heart rate. Those that receive inflated step counts, it did not change their AAM or most of the other outcomes. So they just pretty much stayed just how they already were. And then those that received the intervention, so like the positive outlook kind of training, it improved their AAM. Uh, it improved the functional health and self-reported physical activity. But the actual step count did not change in either of these conditions. So they didn't like start working out more if they like, perceived their results a certain way. So that might have been a lot to take in. I don't know if you like were able to follow along,
yeah, no,
but
yeah.
what kind of like how does that do you think that's like pretty accurate without like doing that study, or do you think that's kind of like interesting that the results were the way they were?
Um, Yeah, it just depends on like the population. And you said they took them in four different groups and kind of gave them like
Yeah.
placebo accuracies and whatnot. I don't know if I like kind of like that example because they could kind of sway on how what the results that they want to be. And like
Hmm.
with most studies, you try to be like non-biased as possible, but then there is studies that will try to have like certain results, and they kind of manipulate it in the way that they want to see certain results. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting that that group, the one that received an accurate step count, like how they had that their functional health decline. Like I wonder if that just kind of led them to not push themselves further, or if they just kind of like
Yeah,
slacked off. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
that this is kind of interesting, and I think that's just people using these trackers. If I'm already in the green, do I strive to be any better, or if everything's always bad, do I
And what
even
was their
care?
like pre and post test of like them being healthier? You know?
Yeah, they took a baseline, but I would have to get further into it. I just didn't want to go like that deep into everything. You know what I mean? Because I don't think they broke it down that much, but
Yeah.
I think they just wanted to see just mentally how they perceive their results and if that affected their training.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is interesting because I could see how, like if you're using a whoop and you're always in the red or something like that, just how you're probably already going into the gym just a little bit more stressed out. You know what I mean? Or just perceiving how you feel even worse because the watch is telling you that you should feel bad.
Yeah, that's true. It's just so weird how it could feel like it can control you just by the results that it says, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Because
know,
there's
it's just
sometimes where
weird.
I'm like focused on getting more sleep, like locked in. Like I'm like, yo, I'm going to bed early, laying down, relaxing, and then I wake up in the morning, I'm like, damn, like I'm only in the yellow, like I didn't make it to the green, you know what I mean? Like fuck.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some of this stuff I'm seeing, they did like a meta analysis. So they took so many different people from like all types of ages and groups. So you got young people, old people,
Hmm.
people who are healthy, some people are unhealthy. Put them together and just gave them like the same protocol. And
Hmm.
the results were all positive. Is just taking together the meta analysis suggested activity trackers improve physical activity, body composition, and fitness, equating to approximately 1,800 extra steps per day, 40 minutes per day more walking, and reductions of approximately 1 kilo in body weight. They were saying that like other like physiological like blood pressure, cholesterol, like glucose, hemoglobin, stuff like that, and psychosocial, so quality of life and pain outcomes were typically small or often non-significant. So
Hmm.
like pretty much it did get people to move. It did get people to like in the initial just kind of that accountability that we're talking about, getting those steps in. You seeing a little bit of improvements of like health, like oh I lost, I got these steps in. I got more exercise per day, which is kind of a
Yeah.
guaranteed. If you're moving more, you're gonna see results. But they're talking about
Yeah.
like more underlying like health issues that like maybe like resolve or pretty much non-significant, which I could see. It's not like one little tracker is not gonna cure
Yeah.
cancer,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I guess like the final verdict of my opinion, I guess, is great way to track and build a habit. Like I said, like me getting more invested into my sleep, good way for me to track it and just to kind of keep me accountable for it. Like I don't want to see it to be in the red that often. So just kind of always in the back of my mind of like, okay, I need to get to bed a little bit earlier, or I need to, stop watching TV or something, just go straight to sleep. But yeah, I don't think it will truly just make you that much healthier of a person. You're still gonna have to put that work in. Like the watch itself isn't gonna do the work for you.
Exactly. I agree too. Like I
Um,
said, I'm kind of in the middle with all that stuff.
yeah. So let's transition to our next topic. This one I think is a little bit funnier. So I already made a post about it on Instagram and TikTok, and this stemmed from somebody commenting on one of my videos because now I'm mostly training crunch. So somebody was just saying, good job for doing this in crunch, basically. And that just kind of like triggered saying, "Oh my damn!" Like some people really dial in like their training environment almost to a T. And I think that's what hurts some people in competition because as crazy as people think that like you would think that competitions are such a great environment to compete in. And sometimes it's like some of the worst. Like sometimes, especially if you're doing a local one, it's in a CrossFit gym, it's hot. Like they don't even
Mm-hmm.
have, like a Lico bar. Like there's just so many factors sometimes that where it's just like, why am I trying? Like, why is this the competition? You know what I mean? Like I'll say like I mean, you've been to finals. I've only done AO series, but I would say those are pretty good. Like I haven't had an issue there at all. Have you had any issues at finals?
I mean, I feel like all national meets are the same, whether it's
Yeah,
nationals, finals, or AO series. They're all the same, like the way it's
yeah,
set up and how it's ran. But yeah, it can get chaotic. I think the only time, and I can't even remember if it was just a series or finals, but like people just are just hogging the freaking. If you're next to the TV where the
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. I hate that.
scorecard,
Yeah,
they're all in your face. There, people like are just walking right in front of people while they're lifting
yeah,
the head attempts because they're not even paying attention. But or it's just like it's very very crammed, and you know how it can get very tight back there. But I don't know. I always feel like just in those situations that everyone's just always locked in no matter what. Like, I don't think you have a choice.
yeah.
You're not gonna be like, oh, I gotta do this. I've actually
Hmm.
seen someone like would flip and lift like the other way.
Yeah,
Like I've seen people like lift in front of like just looking at a wall or something because they didn't want to be like distracted, and which is perfectly fine if it works for them. But yeah, I could see that. Like I'm not even gonna lie, dude. Like there's even times where I feel like coach is like standing like is like literally standing on the edge, like squatting at the edge of the platform. I'm like, dude, she's way too close, man.
you're
Like
like get out the
I'm gonna
way.
miss this. And then I do. I miss like
Yeah,
my last warm up before I hit my opener or something. Like, yeah, there's definitely times I feel like just freaking weird. I'm sure you do
yeah,
too, but
yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah. How do you feel about all that stuff, man?
I mean, I'm biased already, just because like, and I'll put some clips up of just different places I've trained.
Cause the
I,
gulag.
yeah, like mostly just being in the military, like I've had to train so many different places and on so much different equipment that at this point I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna make my lifts. Like I'm never really gonna blame the environment. I mean, there's sometimes like we've talked about this before, where like it's funny because I'll go to HQ sometimes, like I feel like that's not even an environment I want to be in all the time because there's so many people walking around. I'm just like, God dang, like this is busier than what you think. But like in reality, that's like good for a competition prep. Like
Yeah.
there's gonna be so many people running around being weird. There's times where I'm on the platform, like I'm about to take my actual attempts, and there's random people walking in the background, a baby crying. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things. So I mean, I think you should be comfortable in your training environment, but I don't think you should try to dial every little aspect into it. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I mean personally, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's, dude, I don't know if it's because I've been doing this for so long, but yeah,
Yeah,
like I think you gotta find a happy medium. Like always a happy medium with everything.
yeah,
Like take control of your environment as much as you can, because why not? Like if you can control your environment and that's the way that you train the best and that's the most results that you're gonna get, then do
yeah,
it. Like by all means. Like I remember I was so used to the garage. I was always used to just like grinding it by myself and like just no motivation, just you and kind of figuring it all out, and almost kind of like I would call it the pain cave. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this. 'Cause at one time, back in COVID, I lifted in a basement where the overhead is like really dark, only one little light bulb, right?
yeah,
And like it was cement little walls on the side. It was an unfinished basement.
yeah,
Dude, I would just grind it out there. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go in the pain cave, and I would just sit through it. And then the moment when I had the option to drop it, maybe it was like a little bit, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drive 30 minutes to the gym.
yeah,
Um, but went to Indy City Barbell, and like the environment there, like my lift started going up just because I was
yeah,
lifting with people at like an
yeah,
actual gym. And it's not even a weightlifting gym, it's a powerlifting gym, but it have weightlifting stuff. So then I just like thrived off of like those guys going heavy. My friends that I met, they're kind of all doing their own stuff. We're like none of us are on a team. We're all just kind of doing our own thing. But like yeah, like me controlling that as in like, hey, I'm gonna go here because those are the results I'm gonna get. And was it the best? No, because like it was like right in front of a rig, and a lot of
yeah.
times people would pick the squat right in front of your platform. I would move. I would literally, I'm gonna move the other side because I don't want to stare at this motherfucker sweaty ass.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but yeah, like, yeah, I feel like me and you are kind of the same, but maybe you're way less picky than I am. I know that for sure. Like, I know like sometimes I definitely get in my head when it comes to like, oh, the platform, even like, oh man, this one's got a dent. I'm gonna move over to this platform, or this is my favorite platform. I like this one, and I'm gonna lift
I was
here.
trying to see if you're gonna admit to being a bougie lifter because Cory's
Yeah.
bougie when it comes to equipment. I don't know if you're gonna get there, but you're bougie when it comes to equipment.
Like going at meet with feeling different barbells and shit.
That man just did a local cop and said, "Are we using these plates?" Like, brother, if you want to just get out there and lift.
Are we using these plates? Yeah, I don't know, man. I like what I like, man. I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
that's the truth. I mean, there's times. I mean, dude, like COVID, deployed in Qatar. We lifted outside. It was over 100 every day, lifting with
right.
bumpers and Ohio bars and shit. Like I've done that.
Yeah. I
And
mean, you definitely do feel the difference when you're lifting on like good competition equipment versus just like some stuff that might just be running around the gym. You know what I mean? Like it does make a difference. But I just think on the daily, like lift with what you got. Um, what was another point I was going to make? Um,
you said a dog in me.
oh, I would say that I do feel a difference when I train at Crunch versus Apex Barbell with Jen, uh, TL, and all the girls. Just because there's like I don't know. Sometimes I do like lifting that crunch, especially when it's like a really good vibe in there. Like some of the high school kids are in there just gassing me up for lifting heavy. But sometimes at the same time, I almost feel more awkward just because of how much noise I'm about to make with like dropping the bar, and I'm about to like really like try to lift some heavy shit. You know what I mean? So sometimes being at crunch and doing it just almost makes me feel awkward because I'm just like I might scream a little bit, like I'm about to drop the bar hard. If I miss, it's gonna be loud as shit. You know what I mean? And like people are already confused at what I'm doing. Because like yesterday, I had to do block work at
Okay.
Crunch, and
Yeah.
luckily I didn't miss any because I really didn't want to miss off of stacking up plates because I already just looked stupid stacking up plates like that. And then I couldn't even drop it on the plates because it was making so much noise, and I didn't want to miss the plate. So, I mean, I hit 93 for a double off block, so that's a PR for off blocks for me. But um, it just felt more awkward to do it there. You know what I mean? Because it's just you just look out of the norm.
Yeah.
And when I train at a weightlifting gym, it's just everybody knows what they're doing. Like there's blocks if I need blocks, there's dirt blocks if we need those. Like it's just everybody's on the same page. You know what I mean? It's easier to kind of be a little bit more comfortable and just knock your lifts out. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of crunch, I went for the first time on Sunday,
Yeah,
and it
yeah, I saw that.
wasn't bad. It was, dude.
It's
I'm not even
not.
gonna lie, it's not that bad. Like the way that they had it set up was like you kind of had your own area, and they actually had individual like platforms. I've never
Yeah,
seen that at a crunch. But like no, like it wasn't like honestly, I just didn't like. Maybe I just felt weak because it was like the day after a competition, and I was just
yeah.
doing powers, and I was like, I don't feel powerful at all. My body kind of hurts, you know. And but like in the bars weren't like the best. Like they didn't have like the black one that you use. I think. Do you use a black
Okay.
one?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because I know there's two types of ones, and the ones that this place just opened up. It's right. It's literally like 5 minutes away from my house, but like it's just like it's like a power bar. That's what it
like
says
the
on there.
thicker ones. Is
It's
it
not
thicker
thick.
too?
It's not that.
Uh,
Maybe like it's not crazy thick. It says power bar on it, but it has like the
yeah.
center knurling that like really rough, and it doesn't really spin that well. It spins, but like it's like yeah. I would just compare it to like just any bar like any normal barbell. So it felt
Yeah.
kind of weird, kind of doing some of the weightlifting movements, but like the plates and the platform felt nice. Like it was
Right.
even. Like I didn't really feel weird. I didn't feel weird like dropping weights there too. I don't know. Just it felt fine. It wasn't that bad. So like I could say like if you had that option, like, hey, I only have like $10, a month budget. Like, yeah, why
Go to
not?
crunch.
And then go get your workout in, dude. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna make the best of it. Like I remember being just super happy when I first started weightlifting. You just were so excited to find a bar
Hmm.
and plates and you can just do the movements. Don't care what it was. You just made it happen. But
Yeah.
in a weightlifting gym, I could see like obviously like it's more systematic. Like someone takes their turn, then you lift, and they won't walk in front of you. They understand it's in kilos. They have the equipment, they have like blocks and other things that you need. I kind of like that too. And every weightlifting gym is a little different too, and how their like culture is set up and whatnot. Like I compared to, like going to 1 kilo versus like Indy City versus going to a local one like Moran Academy that's in
Hmm.
like another weightlifting gym that's in Indianapolis.
So, what factors would you say do matter? Like, if you were to try to lock in some factors to your training environment, which ones are important to you?
Um, being able to freaking just being able to complete your workout. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
if you can't if you go somewhere like say like I go to my garage, but I don't have like a certain thing from like my program. Like obviously I'm
Hmm.
not gonna go to my garage, but I would say first and foremost, like they gotta have like the certain equipment, and I think like having an actual weightlifting bar and plates is pretty necessary in my book,
Yeah.
for my environment at least, and just being able to adapt. You know, we talk about being in different environments. That's the key to being a good weightlifter, because you know things happen, things that comes unexpected. I feel like more and more like, yeah, I may be bougie, quote unquote. I like nicer things, but also like I am willing to like just figure it out. Like if things
Yeah.
are going my way or things aren't like the most optimal, like I'm just gonna make it happen and kind of switch gears instead of being like negative and let it ruin my session. Just like kind of find a way to attack that workout in the best way in that situation. You know?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree there. I try not to like I'm a person that I even kind of mix up. Like some days I'll play music, some days I won't play music. Um, I mean, I always, like I said, I'm always gonna lift, like at Crunch or at Apex. So I can't really say that I'm like changing up the equipment I use that much or that frequently. But yeah, I mean, even just at Crunch, like depending on if I have a choice of the platforms, like if there's enough open, I'll switch it up every now and then. I won't always lift on the same one, just so I'm getting different looks, different angles, maybe different people walking in front of me, or whatever the case may be. Because like I said, you get to competitions, man, and this is the most annoying things if you let it annoy you. You know what I mean? And I feel like the more you just kind of lock in and just ignore some of the factors, then you almost kind of impose yourself on the environment, and people will kind of cater to you a little bit more. Like they know when you're about to take an attempt, they'll kind of move out your way a little bit more.
Yeah.
Rather than you just kind of sitting there just like whining about, I don't know, the bar that's spinning at a comp or something like that. Like just lift. Everybody's lifting on the same bar, bro. Just lift. Like nobody has that advantage. Let it
I
be.
will say this though, like people who do compete and people who do like if they're listening and like do national meets or any of the case,
Hmm.
try to be prepared. Like I've noticed, and I don't know why, but please like tell me if you agree with me or if you notice it or not. I don't know why, but there's like some type of inner culture thing. I don't know, like I don't know if it's a stigma, but like everyone always kind of waits last minute to do things. Like you know how like say it's your first meet, you're
Hmm.
like doing a whole bunch of warm ups and you're doing this like if that works for you, that's totally fine. I don't get why sometimes like people are like, "Oh, you only lived at this time," and no,
Yeah.
sit down. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't tell
Yeah.
me to sit down. What if I want to walk around, man? Like,
Yeah.
but I'm saying I kind of digressing a little bit, but I'm saying like if you're early, like, hey, why don't you put on your single a little early? Hey, why don't you start like maybe mobile, like warming up a little early? Cause
Hmm.
I can't tell you how many times, bro, that I've been in situations, local meets and national meets, where like I was bullshitting because I think I had all this time, and next thing you know, I gotta put on. I'm late to put thumb tape on. I
Yeah.
gotta hit 50 kilos on, and then that right there spikes my energy and makes me nervous and not confident. I'm not warmed up, and it literally ruins my session. Like I think those times that happen, I bombed out. Like I think
Yeah.
legit. I think two times that I bombed out local and at a national meet is because of some shit like that where I thought I had time and I wish
Yeah.
that like I would have like maybe took it a little serious. Like okay, I'm gonna warm up like good because you know I honestly like to warm up like 20 30 minutes before I start lifting.
Yeah.
You know, do that and then like find a platform, like be more proactive. Like hey, I'm gonna take that platform or go ask that person. I'm gonna get this bar. I'm gonna bring it here. Like start
Hmm.
pre gaming. They like
Yeah.
in the aviation world, we call it getting ahead of the jet or whatever it is, like getting ahead of like the airplane, where like we are kind of almost gaming the system where we're ahead of the checklist. So then we have enough brain bites or like mental things or essay like situation awareness to like notice if little things are happening. So if you just start getting ahead, just I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And personally too, and this is just like a coach to athlete thing. I'd rather take a lift early than just be like last minute. Oh, you gotta hit this, and then boom. Next thing you know, you're
Same.
fucking walking
Same.
out on the platform. You know.
Yeah.
So always, if you're counting someone, don't screw them over because you think you're getting your perfect timing. Just let them hit it a little early, and maybe they need to do a pull, they'll do a pull. But I don't know. I think that's what works best for me if we're talking about like environments and kind of creating your own environment.
Hmm. Yeah, because I'll say, especially at comps, I try to walk to the back already having done just like basic warm up mobility so that even if I did, like, say if I was maybe the first attempt, that it's like I can just go back there and start lifting if that's the case.
Yeah.
And if not, like maybe if I think at the Arnold, I was the last pretty much in the session because I was in a D session for the 89s. So I was going last there, but I still walked back. Like I still started warming up pretty early. Like I didn't say, oh, let me just chill. Like, you know what I mean? Let me just start lifting when it's time to start. Like, nah, like stay active. Cause to me, that just helps me stay locked in. And like, I know the objective. Like, I'm not sitting there zoning out or just like getting so nervous because I'm just sitting there. And then all of a sudden, like you said, like trying to pick it up and get it together. Like, I have more than enough time that, like, hey, maybe if I'm missing, then it's like, all right, like, let's take a little weight off, warm back up. You know what I mean? Take your time. But I think
Absolutely.
you can really take advantage of that environment if you just like you said, just come to the back already prepared. Like, don't wait till the last second. There's so many people that are even before the competition, like, oh, I haven't even cut weight yet, or there's so many factors. It is like just dial in, man. Like,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
are you
Just
still trying to figure that
be
out? Because
prepared.
now
Be
you just
prepared.
yeah, because you just want to show up and do your thing. Like, it should kind of just be a training day where you just happen to take attempts in front of everybody else. You know what I mean? But you shouldn't
Exactly.
have to like show up and dot all these factors. And that's why I wonder if people that do that, I'm like, do you normally dial in a lot of factors for training? And that's why, since you can't control everything, you're so kind of like frantic right now. Because like for me, I feel like you should just be able to show up and live. Like if it's training, like of course I'm gonna still warm up and stuff. But like, I think like Angelo says it sometimes. We're like, he'll kind of play around with like maybe he'll eat, maybe he won't eat, like stuff like that. Because it's like if you just can just walk into the gym and train no matter the time of day, then you should be fine. Like it shouldn't be so many factors that are getting on your nerves or like, oh, I didn't have enough caffeine, I didn't eat enough, I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, you
It all
definitely have
doesn't
to get out
matter.
of your
Like
head
it all
too.
doesn't matter.
You got to be flexible too. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's huge. Like sometimes, like I used to worry if I didn't eat because I always would eat before I train, and sometimes I started doing like fasted training sessions, and dude, I would be hitting like PRs and stuff, and it wasn't even on purpose.
Yeah.
It was like say it's like a Saturday morning, and I used to do like big lifts on Saturday mornings, which honestly I think I personally like better because like a lot of times like local meets or whatever you're competing on Saturday anyway. But
Hmm.
we need to promote more, send it Saturdays versus Big Fridays, in my opinion. But I just like it because like everyone's there in
There's a
the
couple teams
morning.
that do that. Yeah.
Yeah, think about it. You
Yeah.
get early in the morning. You just like you're like fresh because you just had like the your week's done. It's the weekend. You're already kind of happy, right? You didn't just get off of
Yeah.
work. You got some good night's sleep, and then you're ready to lift heavy, and then you got the rest of the day. So
Yeah.
once you get done with your Saturday, like everyone kind of gets big lifts, and then boom, you got your rest of your weekend. Like I remember there's times where I'm so
Another another thing with that, because there was a time in Kansas where I like switched up my days a little bit. So I think I would start the week on Sunday. So then the big, like the heavy session would end up on Thursday. And that worked for me for a while too, because like it wasn't the end of the week yet. So I wasn't had that feeling of like, bro, I'm off for work. I just want to go home and enjoy the weekend. Like I was still kind of like locked into the flow of the week to where I had energy and I would just knock that heavy day out. So then Friday would be, what would be Saturday session. So it was like a quick session, nothing too crazy. So it's like, hit the gym real quick, go home and enjoy the rest of the Friday. You know what I mean? So
mhm.
I do think, yeah, like Big Friday is kind of like it being on Friday is kind of played out sometimes.
It doesn't
I
have to
will
be,
agree
dude.
there.
There's times I don't know about you. You may have like a long ass work day, and then your
Yeah.
big Friday is late as fuck. You get to the gym at 6 o'clock at night, and you're
And I'm
like,
not trying to go
bruh.
heavy. I'm burnt already.
Dude,
Like I
there's
don't
times
want to
I
do
did.
this.
I drive an hour to work. I go fly for 4 hours, come back, debrief, something, and then come drive an hour back. Had to decompress, put on
Yeah.
my shit, go drive 30 minutes to the downtown, and then I'm gonna lift. Like, dude, it's rough.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, dude, sometimes it's Big
The only
Fridays, ain't it?
the only time Big Friday is good is when like it's a day off. You know, I didn't have to go to
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
So I just wake up in
exactly.
the morning, hit my lift, and it's like I got the whole day. But yeah, when it's like too many factors, like we're especially those weeks where I'm like, bro, I survived this week. I didn't thrive. I survived. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, bro, this is the final task I have to do is lift heavy. Like, we'll
Yeah,
see.
I
We'll see
get
about
that,
that.
dude. I get that. Speaking of which, I remember like not a lot of people do this, but I remember my very first weightlifting like schedule was
Hmm.
we would lift like it would be like be somewhat heavy Monday, light Tuesday, you rest Wednesday. And I liked having the rest in the middle of the week. Then
Yeah.
you did something like maybe technical like overhead stuff, like overhead Thursday, you rest Friday, and then you go in and hit your heavy lifts on Saturday. It was kind of weird because everyone always want to lift on Fridays. I remember being a CrossFitter, we'd always that would be like the hardest day, like
Yeah.
the way they always program. Like Friday is always like the hardest day and stuff, and then Saturday is like a more like a team partner WOD and stuff. This is like just me talking about like what I used to do before weightlifting. But yeah, like Monday, Tuesday, rest Wednesday, something like overhead Thursday, rest
Yeah.
Friday, and then lift Saturday. I would feel fresh on Saturday, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
But that's how like I said, like when I used to start the week on Sunday, because then my first rest day would be that Wednesday. It
Oh,
was
okay.
perfect because it was perfect because then it's the middle of the week. So sometimes like if you're already just like we got off to a bad start, I just need some time to like catch up on, just life. Like that Wednesday was that perfect day to like, all right, let me do some laundry, let me chill, let me just get some more sleep. And
Yeah.
then like I said, that heavy day would be Thursday. So it's like you're not even too drained because you just had a day to recoup in the middle of the week. So it's kind of like was this better energy for the rest of the week, I feel. Then you hit the weekend and it's like, bro, I'm chilling. Like I got enough energy still. You know what I mean? I'm not just dead, and now the rest of my
I
Friday is
might
just me on the
take you up
couch.
on that. I'm starting to think that's kind of nice because like you got Sunday, no one's gonna be there. You kind of like you still like you're probably fresh because you just had the
Yeah,
weekend, right? Like
yeah,
no, you ain't doing nothing on Sunday, so you
yeah,
get your day one knocked out. Boom, you already feel accomplished going into Monday, and then Monday's gonna be like a little lighter day. Okay,
yeah.
boom, and then Wednesday is gonna be like that little heavier day. Like wait, Wednesday's gonna be
It'll be
think
Tuesday. If you
oh
do 5 days a week, it'll be Tuesday is like a little bit
Tuesday.
of a heavier day.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Monday would be the light day. You just got the Monday that's nice. Boom. Wednesday is gonna be that. Tuesday's gonna be that heavier day, and then Wednesday's off, and
yeah.
then you lift Thursday, and then you have the rest of the weekend, Friday and Saturday off.
Well, because if you have 5 days, you'll live Friday, but it's just a simple, quick. Like for me, it's just a
Yeah,
technique
yeah,
session.
yeah. That yeah. The way
But then
that
having Saturday off is huge. You don't do nothing else. You just
yeah,
sleep in and just do whatever you want. Just mess around on Saturday. You know what I mean?
yeah. You know how many
So
times that I skip Saturdays?
I've been wanting to go back to that schedule. Is this the only way to like make the change? Is either skip a day eventually, or just double up and like train through, like just start. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I'm not gonna take Sunday off. I'm gonna start the next week on that Sunday. So that's kind of the only two options you have. So that's the only reason I haven't really forced myself to go back to it. But it's been in the back of my head. I'm like, I kind of want to go back to that schedule because it was pretty fun.
That is cool. I like that. It's
Yeah,
different, and I know like I'm like cause I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes like I just was not for lifting on Sundays at all. But I remember I used to like because my coaching schedule was so bad, like I just wouldn't lift Mondays. Like because I
yeah.
just would work all day every day. Like wake up at 5, be done. I'll get home at 9 o'clock at night. Like just no way I was
But
training.
I liked it though because it made me more, I guess, like productive on a Sunday than normal. Because there's some days where like you need to do your reset for the week, but
Mhm.
you're just like procrastinating on it because I'm like, bro, it's Sunday. I don't feel like doing nothing. So like sometimes just like having to force myself to like, okay, I need to go wake up and work out. It kind of like made me for the rest of the day just get into like, all right, like let's do laundry, let's clean up the apartment, let's you know what I mean,
Mm. So you get
let's
it
actually
done
have like
early
a good
then?
day, yeah. Like because you're
Okay.
already moving, you're already active, so it just made me have a really good Sunday, and then I would be in bed early. You know what I mean? Just chilling for the
Yeah.
rest of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. That sounds cool.
Yeah, that was a nice little tangent there.
Yeah, well, lifting schedules. Any other topics you wanted to you go over? Because we did the fitness trackers, we did like the environments and stuff, and then I guess, dude, like you were interviewing me a lot, mostly. Like, kind of give us an update on what's going on in life.
Yeah. So like I said, starting my master's pretty soon. Just kind of like locking in the funds for that using the Army's money, doing on their dime. Other than that, though, just kind of like settling in. I'm fully settled in the corpus at this point. I think the only thing I have left to do is just add some more art to the apartment, but that takes time. I just need to find my other hard drive to print off some more pictures. Training is good. I'm gonna do the Bayer comp. I think that's like in July. I think it's July 27th or it was June. I don't know. Whichever one it is, I'm gonna do that one. That'll just be a train through, and then we'll actually like do a full prep for AO2.
Nice, dude. Heck
Um,
yeah.
I'm gonna go to camp. Actually, that's in 2 weeks. I'll do the summer camp,
Oh
see
yeah,
what that's
nice.
about. Hopefully, some more
Yeah.
people coming to town. But like I said, I kind of just been like taking a little back burner from content just to kind of like because also for content, this recently was like my year of like kind of like doubling down and like really just posting all the time. You know what I mean? Like or posting consistently. Like I hit a year of that. So I think now I kind of like okay, I have the quantity. You know what I mean? Like I've committed enough that I know that I can do it. So it's just now that a year has passed, let's see what we can change. Let's see what we can fix. And just kind of like let some of the content breathe to see what actually worked and just kind of like improve on what I liked and then just stop doing what I didn't like doing.
Yeah.
Because one of my friends actually, she kind of started posting around when I did, and then out of nowhere, within like the past, it was like last month or two, she just went from like 1,000 to like 17K on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like just blew up out of nowhere. And I can
Jeez.
see like the stress of that of like, damn, like, does she scale up? Does she start posting more? Does she, you know what I mean? So it's like you kind of have to do it at a rate so where that when you do get that moment, you know what I mean? When you start cooking like that, that you can continue it. You don't have to like change much, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to have to start changing too much. And then now like the people that just start following you aren't following you no more, just aren't engaging because like you've already changed up what you were doing, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to do more stuff like this because I think it just gets my personality out there more. Plus, kind of like share some of the people that I would make content with, like you've been in videos before and some of the vlogs and stuff like that, just so that people kind of have more information on everybody. So trying to build a community, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope the if we're doing video stuff, like you like my
Yeah, I was like, this man
like
put
my
on his
pajamas
like
on. Dude, someone said I look like a black uncle at a cookout. I was like,
you're like you in a Shakespeare play right now.
yeah, that's what it looks like, right? Like a toga
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
This was like the pajamas they gave me when I was in staying in this nice little hotel in Okinawa. I'm like, I'm gonna take one of these, dude.
Like, just a fit. I've
Yeah,
got this shit on right now.
dude, it's linen, bro. It's comfy as hell.
It looks comfortable, bro. It looks comfortable. Matches the mustache.
Yeah, dude.
So I mean, I think we're good there. I know it's getting late for you and you're getting old, so you should probably go to sleep.
Yeah, I know. I'll probably. Oh yeah, I probably should. Honestly,
Yeah.
light's already off, but
Yeah.
with the little ring light, set the mood. Got the candle going and some drinking some tea. I'm definitely old. This is 32. No, it's crazy. I'll be 32 next month.
Damn. Nah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's
That was crazy. When
crazy.
I turned 29 in March, I was like, damn, I gotta start looking at life a little different. I'm 30. Like, gotta start slowing down a little
It comes fast,
bit.
dude. It comes fast. But no,
Yeah.
honestly, like, dude, I don't even know, man. It all feels the same. You know, I don't really feel any different.
Yeah. I feel it. But yeah, so I guess I'll do my outro first.
Yeah, good.
So thanks for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. You'll see this on my page and Corey's page as well. And let me know if there's any other topics you want us to talk about, whether it's me and Corey or just me or me and somebody else. Let me know. But like always, just keep progressing and I'll see you next time.
See you.